"Who the hell gave you permission to touch my sons?" Jeffrey Riley's voice cut through the third-floor hallway like a blade. He stood rigid in his burgundy suit, phone still clutched in one hand, rainwater from his coat, leaving dark spots on the marble floor. But he wasn't looking at the puddles. He was staring at the open closet door, the one that was supposed to stay locked. Inside the narrow space, surrounded by winter coats and shoeboxes, journeyed Tasha Williams knelt on the hardwood floor. Her black uniform dress and white apron were dusty from the cramped quarters. Her headband had slipped slightly, dark curls escaping at her temples. And on either side of her, pressed against her shoulders like lifelines, were two small boys. Bo and Maverick Riley, 5 years old. Identical twins with blonde hair matted to their foreheads, faces streaked with tears and snot. They weren't crying anymore. They were breathing shallow, shaky, but steady as Tasha's arms encircled them both. Tasha looked up slowly, her voice quiet but firm. "They were locked in here, Mr. Riley. I heard them crying for 20 minutes. No one else came. She didn't move, didn't release the boys. I found them huddled in the back. They couldn't get out. The door handle was—" "I don't care what the door handle was doing," Jeffrey interrupted, his jaw tight. "You were hired to clean, not play therapist." Bo's small hand gripped Tasha's sleeve tighter. Jeffrey stepped forward, yanking Tasha to her feet by her forearm. The boys stumbled back against the wall. "You do not touch my children without my permission. Do you understand me?" Tasha steadied herself, eyes locked on his. "They needed help. They needed to be left alone." His voice cracked, raw with something deeper than anger. "You don't know what they need. You don't know anything about them." His hand shot out not a slap, but a shove against her shoulder that sent her stumbling backward into the hallway. She caught herself on the wall, breath knocked loose. "You're done," Jeffrey said coldly, his chest heaving. "Pack your things. Security will escort you out. I don't want to see you in this house again." Mrs. Chen appeared at the end of the hall, her eyes wide with alarm. She said nothing. Tasha straightened slowly. One hand pressed to her shoulder where his fingers had dug in. She looked past Jeffrey to the boys still huddled in the closet. "You're brave," she said softly to them. "Both of you. So brave." Maverick's lip trembled. Bo whispered something Tasha couldn't hear. Tasha didn't argue, didn't beg. She walked past Jeffrey without another word, her shoes quiet on the marble stairs as she descended. "Mrs." Chen followed her with her eyes, mouth pressed into a thin line of disapproval, not at Tasha, but at what she'd just witnessed. Outside, the iron gates of the Riley estate clanged shut behind her. The November drizzle had softened to mist, clinging to her uniform like cold breath. Tasha pulled her coat tighter and began walking down the long driveway toward the main road. Behind her, the mansion loomed white stone, endless windows, perfectly manicured hedges, beautiful, empty. Jeffrey stood in the hallway, fists clenched, breathing hard. The house had gone silent. Not peaceful. Wrong. He looked back at the closet. The door hung open, light spilling into the cramped space. Inside, Bo and Maverick had curled into each other, rocking slightly, whispering words he couldn't make out. "Boys," he said, his voice softer now. "Come out of there." They didn't move. I said, "Come out." Nothing. Mrs. Chen appeared beside him, her expression carefully neutral. "They've been in there since this morning, sir, before Miss Journey found them. That's the third time this week." Jeffrey's throat tightened. "Why didn't you tell me?" "You weren't here." He stepped into the closet, crouching down. "Look at me." Bo's eyes were red-rimmed, glassy. Maverick wouldn't meet his gaze at all. "She shouldn't have interfered," Jeffrey said, though the words felt hollow even to him. "She stayed," Bo whispered. "Everyone else leaves." Jeffrey blinked. "What?" "Miss Tasha stayed. She didn't yell. She didn't tell us to stop crying." Bo's voice cracked. "She just stayed." Maverick nodded, silent tears sliding down his cheeks. Jeffrey looked round the closet at the toy cars scattered in the corner, the pillow someone had brought in, the walls scuffed from small hands. And then he saw it. On the back wall, written in crayon in a child's shaky handwriting. Mummy said she'd come back. His chest caved in. That night, Jeffrey sat alone in his study, the house too quiet around him. Mrs. Chen had put the boys to bed, but he'd heard them crying through the walls for an hour before they finally exhausted themselves into sleep. On his desk sat a file he'd been avoiding for months. Nanny applications, Riley Estate. He opened it. 23 names, 23 failures. Some quit after 2 days. Others were fired for incompetence. One lasted only 4 hours. The notes from HR were clinical. Children exhibit violent behavior. Twins refuse all attempts at comfort. Recommend psychiatric evaluation. But today, for the first time in 8 months, his sons had stopped crying. Not because of him. Because of a housemaid who wasn't supposed to care. Jeffrey picked up his phone, scrolling to the security footage from earlier. He watched the hallway camera. Tasha kneeling in the closet, arms around 2 sobbing boys, her voice too low to hear but her presence unmistakable. And then he watched himself shoving her, shouting, erasing the first moment of peace his children had known since their mother died. He set the phone down and pressed his palms to his eyes. What do you think of Tasha? If you believe she's someone truly special, give her a like to show your support. And don't forget to share where you're watching this video from. Someone near you might be watching it too. But Tasha wasn't just anyone. And the reason she couldn't walk away from Bo and Maverick had everything to do with a closet she'd once been locked in herself 3 years ago, on the worst day of her life. To understand why Tasha stayed when everyone else left, you have to go back. Tasha sat at her kitchen table. The termination paper from Riley Estate lay there, still damp from where the rain hit it. She didn't read it, didn't need to. Her phone was in her hand. Screen lit up. The photo stared back at her like it always did. Zara, 5 years old, yellow sundress bright against the summer grass, head thrown back, laughing at something Tasha couldn't remember anymore. The photo was 3 years old. 2 weeks before everything ended. Tasha's thumb hovered over the delete button. She did this sometimes, late at night, when the grief got too heavy, but she never pressed it. "I'm sorry, baby," she whispered. "I couldn't save you either." Her chest ached. Not the sharp pain from 3 years ago. This was duller, constant, like breathing underwater. She'd been a kindergarten teacher once. Loved it. 22 kids every year. Painted hands. Messy hair. Questions about why the sky was blue and if dinosaurs could come back. Then Zara got sick. Seizure. Sudden. No warning. 1 minute laughing. Next minute on the floor. Hospital said it was her brain. Something wrong from birth. Nothing anyone could have done. But Tasha's husband didn't see it that way. "You were her mother," he'd said. Cold, flat. "You should have known something was wrong." Divorce came 4 months later. Tasha couldn't go back to teaching after that. Couldn't look at 5-year-olds without seeing Zara. Couldn't hear laughter without hearing hers. So she took cleaning jobs instead. Houses, offices, places where she didn't have to talk, didn't have to feel. Until today. Until 2 boys in a closet looked at her like she was the first person who saw them. Her phone buzzed. Unknown number. She almost didn't answer. But something made her swipe. "Hello? Miss Journey?" The voice was older, tired. "This is Mrs. Chen. From the Riley Estate." Tasha sat up straight. "Mrs. Chen, those boys haven't stopped crying since you left." Silence. "Mr. Riley doesn't know I'm calling. He's locked in his study. Emergency meetings all evening. But those boys," her voice cracked, "they're upstairs. Alone. Crying for you." Tasha's throat tightened. "I can't come back. He fired me. I know what he did." Mrs. Chen's voice turned sharp. "I saw. And I'm ashamed I didn't stop it. But this isn't about him right now. It's about Bo and Maverick." Tasha closed her eyes, saw their faces again. Tears, snot, fear. "You're the 23rd, Mrs. Chen said. 23rd what? Caregiver? Nanny? Therapist? Specialist? 23 people in 6 months. None of them lasted a week. Most quit after 2 days." Tasha's stomach dropped. "Why?" "Because those boys are broken, and no one knows how to fix them." "Mrs." Chen paused. "I've worked here 12 years. I knew their mother. Sweet woman, love those boys more than breathing. But what's happening to them now? This isn't normal grief. What happened to her? Tasha asked quietly. Mrs. Chen's breath shook. She collapsed. In that closet. The one you found them in today. Tasha's hand went to her mouth. The boys were with her. They saw everything. She fell. Stopped moving. They were locked in there with her for 3 hours before Mr. Riley came home and broke the door open. Oh, God. They've been living in that moment ever since, Mrs. Chen said. Waiting in that closet. Like if they stay there long enough, she'll come back. Like she promised. Tasha's eyes burned. She looked at Zara's photo again. Saw herself 3 years ago, holding her daughter's hand in the hospital, waiting for her to wake up, knowing she wouldn't. Why are you telling me this? Tasha whispered. Because you stayed. Everyone else ran. But you stayed. At the Riley estate, Jeffrey sat in his study. Papers scattered across his desk. Nanny applications, all of them rejected. Too young, too old, not enough experience, too much attitude. He rubbed his face, felt the weight pressing down on his skull. Earlier that day, before he came home and found Tasha in the closet, he'd been at a board meeting. Rowan Davis, his business partner, leaning across the table with that snake smile. You need to focus, Jeffrey. This merger won't wait. Your personal issues. My personal issues are my dead wife and traumatized sons. Rowan hadn't blinked. Then hire someone to handle them. You're no good to this company distracted. Jeffrey had wanted to hit him. Didn't. Now he wished he had. A knock on the door. Mrs. Chen. The boys won't eat, she said. Force them. I tried. They pushed the plates away. 3rd night this week. Jeffrey's jaw clenched. Then let them starve. Maybe they'll learn. Mrs. Chen didn't move, just stared at him. Disappointed. Disgusted. That's not how children work, Mr. Riley. She left. Jeffrey sat there, alone, hating himself. His phone buzzed. Security. Sir, we have a situation. Jeffrey's blood went cold. What situation? Maverick. He's on the window ledge. 2nd floor, trying to climb to the roof. Jeffrey ran. Found the security guard holding Maverick by the waist. The boy was kicking, screaming, reaching for the roof like something up there was calling him. Let me go. Let me go. Jeffrey pulled him inside, held him tight. Maverick went limp. Stopped fighting. Just cried. Why? Jeffrey asked, voice breaking. Why would you do that? Maverick didn't answer. Couldn't. He buried his face in Jeffrey's chest and sobbed. Bo was in the bathroom. Mrs. Chen found him, sitting on the floor, holding a bottle of pills, Jeffrey's sleeping medication, the child-proof cap still on. Bo was trying to twist it, failing, crying. I want to see Mommy, he whispered. Mrs. Chen took the bottle, held him, rocked him. When Jeffrey came in, Bo looked up, eyes empty. We tried to save her, Daddy. We tried. Jeffrey collapsed, knees hit tile. He pulled Bo close, held both boys, felt them shaking, felt himself shaking. He couldn't do this alone. He called Naya, his late wife's sister. The phone rang. And rang. Voicemail. Naya, it's Jeffrey. The boys, they need help. I need help. Please call me back. She didn't. Jeffrey sat on the bathroom floor, sons in his arms, house silent except for their breathing. He thought about Tasha, the way the boys stopped crying when she held them, the way they looked at her, like she understood, and he'd shoved her, fired her, sent her away. I'm sorry, he whispered to the boys, to himself, to no one. Tasha stood at her window, city skyline stretched out in front of her. Somewhere out there, on the hill, the Riley estate sat. Lights on, boys crying. Her phone buzzed. Text, unknown number. Mrs. Chen again. Mr. Riley has your address. He's coming to you. Tasha's hands shook. The phone almost slipped. She hadn't been alone with a child's father since her ex-husband, since he blamed her, since he looked at her like she was the reason their daughter died. Headlights turned onto her street. Tasha's breath caught. A black car. Expensive. Slow. It stopped in front of her building. The door opened. Jeffrey Riley stepped out, still in his burgundy suit. Tie gone, hair messy, face pale. He looked up at her window. Their eyes met. Tasha didn't move. He started walking toward her door. The knock came at 11:47 p.m. Tasha looked through the peephole and froze. Jeffrey Riley stood in the hallway, still wearing that red suit, but the tie hung loose around his neck. His hair was wet. Rain dripped from his shoulders onto the worn carpet. She opened the door just enough to see him properly. "My sons tried to kill themselves tonight," he said before she could speak. "Both of them. They're 5 years old." The words hit her like cold water. She stood there, hand on the door, not moving. "They climbed into the closet where Ayanna died," he continued. His voice was flat, empty. "They locked the door from inside. They were trying to go where she went." Tasha's grip tightened on the doorknob. "I broke the door down," Jeffrey said. "They were unconscious. Not breathing right. The hospital kept them for 6 hours." "Are they okay?" The words came out before she could stop them. "Their bodies are fine." He looked at her directly. "Everything else is broken. She should close the door. She should tell him to leave." But something in his face stopped her. He looked different than this morning. Smaller, somehow. Lost. "Why are you here?" she asked. "Because you're the first person who saw them," he said. "Really saw them. In 8 months, you're the first person they responded to. I was there for 4 hours. And in 4 hours you did more than anyone else has done since Ayanna died." He ran his hand through his wet hair. "I don't know my own children. My wife handled everything. When she died, I kept working because that's what I know. I failed them." Tasha felt her anger rising. "You struck me this morning. You humiliated me in your office. Why would I help you?" "Because I can't let them die." His voice cracked. "And I don't know how to stop it." They stood there in silence. Rain drummed against the hallway window. "Come in," Tasha said finally. "You're dripping on my neighbor's doormat." Inside her small apartment, Jeffrey looked out of place. Too tall, too expensive, too much. He stood in the middle of her living room like he didn't know where to put himself. "Sit," Tasha said, pointing to her old couch. He sat. He pulled out his phone and handed it to her. "I want you to see something." Tasha looked at the screen. Email after email. Nanny applications, 23 of them. All rejected by his HR department. Psychological evaluations of the twins. Incident reports. The list went on and on. "They've hurt 4 caregivers," Jeffrey said quietly. "Nothing serious, but enough that the agency won't send anyone else. They destroyed 2 rooms completely. They refuse to eat most days. The closet thing started 3 weeks ago." Tasha scrolled through the reports. Violence towards staff, property destruction, self-harm. The words blurred together. "What did the therapist say?" she asked. "That they're traumatized. That they need stability. That they need time. And what do you think they need?" Silence. Jeffrey looked at his hands. "I don't know." The honesty of it surprised her. "I work 16-hour days," he continued. "I've been doing it since I was 20. It's all I know. Ayanna ran the house, raised the boys, handled everything. I provided money. That was our arrangement." He looked up at her. "I realize now how stupid that sounds." "It sounds like a lot of marriages," Tasha said. "Not kindly, just truthfully. After she died, I kept working. I thought that's what I was supposed to do. Keep everything normal. Keep the money coming. The staff handled the boys. I signed checks." His voice got quieter. "I didn't know they were dying inside. I didn't see it." Tasha handed the phone back. "But you see it now. Now it's too late." "It's not too late if they're still breathing." Jeffrey looked at her. Really looked at her. "Will you come back?" "Why me? You have money. You can hire anyone." "Because when you left today, Maverick cried. Actually cried, not just screamed. And Bo asked where you went. They haven't asked about anyone in 8 months." Tasha felt something twist in her chest. She walked to her small kitchen and poured herself water, took a long drink. "If I come back," she said slowly, "I have conditions." "Name them." "I have full authority over the boys, their schedule, their food, their activities. You don't interfere." Jeffrey nodded. "I need to know everything about Ayanna's death. Not the public story. The real one." His face tightened. "Why?" "Because the boys are stuck in it. I can't help them if I don't understand what happened." A long pause. Then, "Agreed. My title isn't Maid. It's child advocate. I work with the boys, not your house. Fine. You attend family dinners. Every night you're in the country. No phones, no work, just you and them. I can do that. I report to you directly. Not your staff, not your assistant. You. Done. Tasha set down her water glass. She walked closer to him. And if you ever raise your hand to me again, I walk, and I call authorities. I don't care who you are. Jeffrey stood up. He looked her in the eye. I was wrong this morning. Completely wrong. I'm sorry. Sorry doesn't fix it. No, it doesn't. He held out his hand. But I won't do it again. She looked at his hand for a long moment. Then she took it. His grip was firm, desperate. I'm doing this for Bo and Maverick, Tasha said. Not for you. I understand. She released his hand. There's something you should know about me. What? I lost my daughter 3 years ago. She was 6. Tasha's voice was steady, but her eyes weren't. I know what it looks like when a child gives up. I've seen it before. Jeffrey's face changed, softened. I'm sorry. Don't be sorry. Just know that I won't let it happen again. Not if I can stop it. Ayanna hid how sick she was, Jeffrey said suddenly. I was traveling. She didn't tell me she couldn't breathe. The boys were alone with her when... He stopped. Couldn't finish. When she died. Tasha finished quietly. He nodded. They stood there in her small apartment, 2 people carrying weight too heavy for words. I'll be there at 7 a.m., Tasha said. Thank you. Jeffrey moved toward the door, then stopped. Can I ask what happened to your daughter? Leukemia. She fought for 2 years. Tasha's voice was flat. In the end, she was too tired to fight anymore. Jeffrey didn't say anything. What could he say? He just nodded and left. After he was gone, Tasha stood in her quiet apartment. The rain had stopped. She walked to her bedroom closet and pulled out a white box from the top shelf. Inside was a yellow sundress, a picture book about butterflies, and a small recording device. She pressed play. Her daughter's laughter filled the room. Bright, pure, alive. Tasha listened for 30 seconds, then stopped it. She couldn't listen to more. She never could. I couldn't save you, she whispered to the empty room. But maybe I can save them. She closed the box carefully, put it back on the shelf. Then she pulled out her phone and booked an Uber for 6 a.m. She didn't sleep that night. Just sat by her window, watching the city lights, thinking about 2 little boys in a mansion who wanted to die, thinking about what she'd promised, thinking about whether she was strong enough to keep that promise. At 5:30 a.m., she got dressed. At 5:55, she walked outside. At exactly 6, the Uber pulled up. Tasha got in and gave the driver the address. She was going back. The Uber dropped Tasha at the gates at 6:47 a.m. The mansion looked different in the dawnlight. Quieter. Sadder, somehow. Mrs. Chen opened the door before Tasha could knock. Relief washed over the older woman's face. They didn't sleep, Mrs. Chen said. Mr. Riley is still in his study. The boys are in the closet again. Tasha didn't ask which closet. She knew. She went upstairs without unpacking her bag. Monday. Establishing presence. The closet door was closed. Tasha could hear breathing on the other side. Small, quick breaths. She sat down on the floor outside and leaned against the wall. I'm back, she said to the door. Just like I promised. No answer. She pulled a book from her bag. A children's story about a brave little girl who wasn't afraid of the dark. Tasha started reading aloud. Her voice filled the hallway. Steady. Calm. She didn't try to coax them out. She just read. After 20 minutes, the door cracked open. Just an inch. Why did you come back? Bo's voice was small. Because you needed me to. Daddy said you quit. I changed my mind. People don't change their minds. Sometimes they do. The door opened wider. Bo's face appeared. His eyes were red and swollen. We thought you were gone forever, he said. I'm here now. Maverick's face appeared behind his brother. Silent. Watching. Are you hungry? Tasha asked. Bo shook his head. Then his stomach growled loudly. Sounds like your tummy disagrees, Tasha said. A tiny smile. Almost invisible. But there. They ate lunch in the hallway outside the closet. Sandwiches cut into triangles. Apple slices. Juice boxes. The boys sat on either side of her, not touching but close. It was a start. Tuesday, the routine. Tasha made a chart with drawings. Simple pictures showing the day's activities. Wake up, breakfast, playtime, lunch, quiet time, dinner, bath, bedtime. She hung it on the wall outside their bedroom. This is what we'll do every day, she explained. So you always know what's coming next. Bo studied it carefully. What if something bad happens? Like what? Like Mommy. Tasha knelt down to his level. Bad things can happen any time. But having a plan helps us feel safer. Does it help you? Yes. What bad thing happened to you? I lost someone I loved very much. Did they die? Yes. Did you cry? Every day, for a long time. Bo looked at his brother. Some silent communication passed between them. Maverick doesn't talk, Bo said. Not to most people. That's okay. He talks to me, though. You're his brother. That's special. Morning wake-up became a ritual. Tasha would knock 3 times, then sing the same song. Something simple about sunshine and new days. The boys would open their door exactly 3 minutes later. Jeffrey watched from his bedroom doorway one morning. He said nothing, just watched. His face was unreadable. Wednesday, the setback. The scream came at 2 a.m. Tasha ran from her room to find Maverick thrashing in his bed. His eyes were open, but he wasn't seeing anything real. "Mommy falling," he screamed. "Mommy falling down." Bo was already awake, crying in the corner. Tasha pulled Maverick into her arms. He fought her at first, hitting and kicking. "I've got you," she said firmly. "You're safe. You're safe." The door burst open. Jeffrey stood there in pajama pants and a t-shirt. "What's wrong? What happened?" "Nightmare," Tasha said. "Stay back. That's my son. And if you come closer, you'll make it worse." Jeffrey looked like she'd slapped him, but he stayed in the doorway. Maverick screamed for 2 hours. Tasha held him through all of it. Her arms ached, her back hurt. She didn't let go. Finally, he went limp, exhausted, his face pressed against her shoulder. "Why didn't Daddy save Mommy?" Bo asked from his corner. His voice was so quiet, so broken. Jeffrey's face went white. "Sometimes people get sick too fast," Tasha said carefully. "Even when we love them very much, we can't always save them." "Daddy was on a plane," Bo said. He was far away. Jeffrey left the room. Tasha heard his footsteps going down the hall, heavy, slow. Thursday, the breakthrough. "We want to show you something," Bo said after breakfast. He took Tasha's hand. Maverick took the other one. They led her down the hall to a door she hadn't opened yet. Inside was a master bedroom, huge, beautiful, untouched. They walked to the closet. A walk in the size of Tasha's whole apartment. "This is where Mommy was," Bo said. "She was getting dressed for a party. She fell down. We called 911, but she didn't wake up." Tasha's throat tightened. "She promised she'd come back," Bo continued. "We wait here every day." 8 months. They'd been waiting 8 months. "Let's make this a special place to remember her," Tasha said gently. "Not a waiting place. A remembering place." "How?" "What did Mommy love?" "Flowers," Bo said immediately. "Yellow flowers." "And music," Maverick whispered. His first words in days. They spent the afternoon transforming the closet. Photos of Ayana on small shelves, her favorite pillow, candles that smelled like vanilla, a small speaker that played soft classical music. "Now when you come here you can feel close to her," Tasha said. "But you don't have to wait. She's always with you in your hearts." Bo touched one of the photos. She was pretty. She was beautiful. "Do you think she's mad we're still here and she's not?" "No, baby. I think she's glad you're still here. I think that's what she'd want most." Friday, the test. The woman who arrived at noon was stunning. Tall, dark-skinned, wearing an expensive suit. Her face was Ayana's face. Sharper, harder, but the same. "Who are you?" she demanded when she saw Tasha with the boys. "I'm Tasha. I'm helping with Bo and Maverick. You're the maid. I'm their child advocate." The woman's eyes narrowed. "I'm Naya Price, Ayana's sister. The boy's aunt. Nice to meet you," Don't overstep, Naya said coldly. Your staff. Jeffrey appeared in the doorway. Naya, you didn't call. I don't need permission to see my nephews. You always need to call first. We discussed this. Naya's face twisted with anger. You killed my sister with your neglect. Now you're keeping these boys from family. That's not fair. Fair? You were on a business trip while she died on the floor. Alone, except for 2 terrified 5-year-olds. The boys pressed against Tasha. She put her arms around them. We're not doing this in front of them, Jeffrey said quietly. They should know what kind of father you are. Naya, leave. I'm filing for custody. My lawyer will contact you next week. She left in a storm of expensive perfume and fury. The house felt cold after she was gone. Saturday, the family dinner. Jeffrey sat at the head of the table. Tasha and the boys sat together on one side. The boys stayed close to Tasha. They didn't look at their father. Jeffrey's hurt was obvious. He tried to talk to them. They answered in one-word responses. How was your day, Bo? Fine. Maverick, did you like the activities Miss Tasha planned? Maverick said nothing, just nodded. Tasha felt the tension, felt Jeffrey's pain, felt the distance between father and sons. Naya's words echoed in her head. You're not their mother. Don't overstep. Was she overstepping? Was she making things worse? Sunday, the question. Tasha was reading to them before bed when Maverick spoke. Will you leave like Mommy? The question hung in the air. I'm here now, Tasha said carefully. Every day I can be. But you're not family, Bo said. Aunt Naya said so. Tasha's heart hurt. No, I'm not family. Then you'll leave. I care about you like family. That's what matters. But it's not the same. No, it's not the same. They were quiet for a long time. In the hallway, Jeffrey stood listening. His hand was pressed against the wall. His head was down. He'd heard everything. When Tasha came out, they looked at each other. Neither spoke. There were no words for what they both knew. The boys were broken. The path to healing was longer than either had imagined, and enemies were gathering. But Tasha had made a promise. She wasn't leaving yet. Dr. Leilani Stewart arrived Monday morning at exactly 9 o'clock. She was a black woman in her 50s, with silver streaks in her natural hair and eyes that seemed to see straight through people. She wore a purple dress and carried a leather bag that looked older than Tasha. You must be Tasha, she said, extending her hand. Jeffrey called me, but I need to assess everyone, including you. Tasha shook her hand. The grip was firm and warm. The boys are in the playroom, Tasha said. Good. Let's start there. Dr. Leilani worked with the twins for 3 hours. Tasha watched through the two-way mirror Jeffrey had installed last year. The doctor didn't ask many questions. Instead, she gave them paper and crayons. Draw me a picture of an important day, she said. Bo picked up a black crayon immediately. He drew a woman lying on the ground. Her mouth was open. Her arms were stretched out. Above her, he drew 2 small figures with enormous eyes. At the bottom, he wrote in shaky letters. The day everything stopped. Maverick worked more slowly. He used only dark colors. Blue, purple, black. His picture showed 2 boys sitting in darkness. Nothing else. Just darkness all around them and 2 tiny figures holding hands. Dr. Leilani studied both drawings for a long time. Tell me about your pictures, she said gently. That's when Mommy fell down, Bo said. We were in her special closet. She was getting ready for a party. She said her head hurt. Then she made a scary noise and fell down. What did you do? I tried to wake her up. I shook her and shook her. Maverick was crying. Could you get out of the closet? Bo shook his head. The door locks from outside. Mommy locked it so we'd stay safe while she got dressed. We couldn't open it. Tasha felt her stomach drop. How long were you in there? Dr. Leilani asked. I don't know. Forever. Maverick kept saying he was hungry. I told him to be quiet. Then Daddy came home and opened the door. Maverick started rocking back and forth, his arms wrapped around himself. Maverick, can you tell me about your picture? Dr. Leilani asked. The boy shook his head. He doesn't talk much, Bo explained. Not since Mommy died. Why do you think that is? Because the last thing he said to Mommy was, I'm hungry. He thinks that's why she died. Because he was selfish. Dr. Leilani's face remained calm, but Tasha saw something flicker in her eyes. Sadness. Deep sadness. After the session, Dr. Leilani met with Jeffrey and Tasha in his office. She spread medical records across the desk. Ayana had a congenital brain aneurysm, she said. Based on these records, it was undiagnosed. She complained of headaches to her primary care doctor, but attributed them to stress. The doctor agreed. What does that mean? Tasha asked. It means a blood vessel in her brain was weak. It could have ruptured at any time. When it did, the seizure was catastrophic. Instant. Jeffrey's face was grey. The boys were locked in the closet with her for approximately 3 hours, based on the timeline you've provided. 3 hours. Jeffrey's voice broke. They were in there with her body for 3 hours. They tried to wake her. They called for help, but no one heard them. When you finally opened the door, they were traumatized beyond measure. Why didn't I know they were locked in? Locked in, Jeffrey said. Why didn't Ayana tell me she used the closet that way? According to the boys, it was their quiet time-space, a place where they felt safe while Ayana got ready for events. She would lock the door to keep them contained. It was meant to be protective. It became a tomb. Yes. Silence filled the office. What's wrong with them? Tasha asked quietly. Complex trauma. Survivor's guilt. Arrested development in several areas. Bo believes he should have saved his mother. He's 5 years old and he carries that weight. Maverick has stopped speaking because he associates his basic needs with his mother's death. Can they recover? Jeffrey asked. With proper care, time, and consistency, yes. But it will take years, not months. And they need both of you. She looked directly at Jeffrey. Right now, your sons think you abandoned them. Jeffrey flinched. I was working to provide for them. They're 5. They don't understand quarterly earnings. They understand presence. And you haven't been present. I'm trying now. That's a start, but trying isn't enough. I'm giving you an assignment. 1 hour daily with your sons. No phones, no work, no interruptions. Just you and them. What do I do with them for an hour? Whatever they want. Play, read, sit in silence. It doesn't matter. What matters is that you're there. What if they don't want me? Dr. Leilani's voice was gentle but firm. Then you earn them back. After Jeffrey left to make phone calls, Dr. Leilani turned to Tasha. Now let's talk about you. I'm fine. No, you're not. Sit down. Tasha sat. Why are you really here? Dr. Leilani asked. The boys need help. That's not what I asked. Why you? Why did you come back after Jeffrey struck you? Why are you sleeping in a house that's not yours, caring for children who aren't yours? Tasha's throat tightened. I couldn't save my daughter. Maybe I can save them. Or maybe you're using them to avoid your own grief. The words hit like a punch. I've processed my grief, Tasha said defensively. Have you? Or have you buried it under the weight of these boys' trauma? That's not fair. Fairness has nothing to do with it. Healing them won't bring Zara back. Tasha felt tears coming. She fought them. Lost. I know, she whispered. I know it won't bring her back. But it makes the grief mean something. If I can save these boys, then maybe Zara's death wasn't completely pointless. Maybe I learned something from watching her die that can help them live. Dr. Leilani handed her a tissue. That's honest. Hold on to that honesty. But be careful. These boys need consistency, not a savior working through her own pain. I can do both. Can you? Tasha didn't answer. That evening, Finley Walters knocked on Tasha's door. The groundskeeper was a weathered Irishman in his 60s, with kind eyes and calloused hands. Miss Tasha, I need to show you something. What's wrong? It's not my place to go to Mr. Riley directly, but you're different. You'll know what to do. He handed her a folder. Inside were photographs. Rowan Davis in Jeffrey's office. Rowan photographing documents. Rowan meeting with a woman who looked like Ayana. Who is this? Tasha asked, pointing to the woman. That's Nia Price, Mrs. Riley's sister. When did you take these? Over the last month. I've been watching Mr. Davis. Something about him didn't sit right. He's been accessing Mr. Riley's office after hours. I followed him one night. Saw him meeting with Miss Price at a restaurant downtown. Why would he do that? I did some asking around. Mr. Davis wants control of the company. There's a merger happening soon. Big money involved. If Mr. Riley gets distracted, loses focus, Mr. Davis can make his move. And if Jeffrey loses custody of his sons, Tasha said slowly, he'd definitely lose focus. Exactly. Miss Price wants the boys. Mr. Davis wants the company. They're working together. Tasha stared at the photographs. Rowan's face was clear in each one. Smug. Confident. Why bring this to me? She asked. Because Mr. Riley trusts you. And those boys need you. If this all falls apart, they're the ones who suffer most. After Finley left, Tasha sat with the folder for a long time. She thought about Naya's cold eyes, Rowan's fake smile, the boys sleeping upstairs, finally feeling safe after 8 months of terror. She thought about Dr. Leilani's words. Are you a savior? Or are you just avoiding your own pain? Maybe both. But right now, those boys needed someone who would fight for them. Someone who would see the threats coming and stand in the way. Tasha opened her laptop. She started researching. Custody law, business mergers, corporate manipulation. She read until her eyes burned. If Rowan and Naya wanted a fight, they'd get one, but they'd have to go through her first. Upstairs, Maverick woke from another nightmare. This time, he didn't scream. He climbed out of bed and walked down the hall to Tasha's room. She opened the door to find him standing there in his pajamas, tears on his face. Bad dream? She asked. He nodded. Want to sit with me for a while? Another nod. They sat together on her bed. Tasha didn't talk. She just held his hand while he breathed. After 10 minutes, he spoke. My last words to Mommy were, I'm hungry, he whispered. That's all I said. I didn't say I love you. I didn't say thank you. Just, I'm hungry. Oh, sweetheart. I think that's why she died, because I was selfish. Tasha pulled him close. Listen to me. Your mommy's brain was sick. It had nothing to do with you being hungry. Nothing. She loved you so much. She knew you loved her. One sentence doesn't change that. You promise? I promise. He leaned against her shoulder. Will you stay, even if Aunt Naya comes? I'll stay as long as I can. That's not forever. No, but it's enough for now. They sat in silence until he fell asleep. Tasha carried him back to his room and tucked him in next to Bo. Both boys looked so small in their beds, so fragile. She would protect them, whatever it took, even if it meant facing her own grief in the process. At 10 o'clock, Tasha sat in Jeffrey's private study. The room smelled like leather and old books. Jeffrey sat next to her, his face pale. Mrs. Chen had put the boys to bed an hour ago. Finley stood outside the door like a guard. On the laptop screen was a video file. The date stamp read 8 months ago, the day Ayana died. Are you sure you want to watch this? Jeffrey asked. We need to know what really happened, Tasha said. Jeffrey's hand shook as he clicked play. The video started in a hallway. The camera was mounted high in the corner, a security system that recorded everything. Ayana appeared on screen, beautiful in a blue dress, holding both boys by their hands. She was laughing. Come on, my little bears, she said. Let's make the fort extra cozy today. She led them to the closet. Not the master bedroom closet, a different one. The hallway closet near the stairs. Inside were pillows and blankets and books, a safe space, a playing space. Mommy needs to lie down for a minute, Ayana said. Her voice was tired. You play here quietly, okay? I'll be right outside. Okay, Mommy, Bo said. I'm hungry, Maverick said. I'll get you a snack in a few minutes, baby. Just let Mommy rest her eyes. She closed the door most of the way. Not locked, just pulled closed. 10 minutes passed on the timestamp. The boys played with toy cars on the carpet. Their voices were soft, following Mommy's instructions to be quiet. Then a scream. Sharp. Terrible. Cut off. Both boys jumped up. They ran to the door. Pushed it. It didn't open. Mommy? Bo called. He pushed harder. The camera angle shifted slightly. Through the crack in the door, Ayana was visible on the floor. Her body was jerking, seizing. Her head hit the wall once, twice. Then she went still. Mommy! Maverick screamed. Mommy, wake up! Bo threw his small body against the door. It didn't move. The latch was broken, jammed from the outside. They were trapped. "We have to call someone," Bo said. His voice was shaking. "What's the number? What's the emergency number?" 9, Maverick said. "It has a 9. 911, Bo said. "But we don't have a phone." They screamed for help. "Kicked the door," cried. No one came. After 20 minutes, they went quiet. Both boys sat down next to the door, as close to their mother as they could get. "Mommy, please wake up," Bo whispered. "Please. We'll be good. We'll be so good." Maverick put his hand through the crack in the door, trying to reach her. His fingers stretched but couldn't touch her. The timestamp moved. 1 hour, 2 hours, 3 hours. The boys didn't move. They just sat there, waiting. Finally, a voice. Distant at first, then closer. "Ayanna? Boys? Where is everyone?" Jeffrey's voice. "Daddy!" Bo screamed. "Daddy, we're in here. Mommy won't wake up." The door shook. Once, twice. Then it broke open. Jeffrey's face appeared, confused, then horrified. He saw Ayanna on the floor. Saw the boys huddled together, covered in tears and snot. "Call 911, he shouted to someone off camera. "Now!" He scooped up both boys, carried them away from the closet, away from their mother. The ambulance came. Paramedics worked on Ayanna's body. The boys were carried out by a woman in uniform. The video ended. The study was silent. Jeffrey had his face in his hands. His shoulders shook. "They thought I abandoned them," he said. His voice was broken. "I didn't know. I didn't know they were there." Tasha was crying silently. Tears ran down her face, but she made no sound. "They were so brave," she whispered. "They tried to save her." Jeffrey looked up. His eyes were red and swollen. "How do I tell them it wasn't their fault?" "We show them," Tasha said. "We recreate a moment where they can help someone." "What?" Dr. Leilani mentioned therapeutic reenactment. We give them a situation where they have control, where they can rescue someone successfully. Jeffrey wiped his eyes. "How?" "Tomorrow we stage something. I pretend to need help. Something simple. Maybe I fall or drop something I can't reach. They help me. They get to be the heroes they tried to be. Will that work? I don't know. But it might give them back some power." Tasha pulled out her phone and called Dr. Leilani. Even though it was late, the doctor answered. "I was expecting your call, Doctor," Leilani said. "You watched the footage?" "Yes." "And?" "We want to try therapeutic reenactment. Give the boys a chance to help someone successfully." "That's good instinct. But be careful. It has to feel real to them, but be completely safe. No actual danger." "We'll be careful. Keep me updated. And Tasha, take care of yourself too. That video was traumatic for everyone." After she hung up, there was a knock on the door. Finley came in, his face grim. "We have a problem," he said. "What now?" Jeffrey asked. "Child Protective Services called. They're investigating this household. Anonymous tip about unsafe conditions for the boys." "That's ridiculous," Jeffrey said. "This house is perfectly safe." "It gets worse. The court date for Naya's custody hearing got moved up, 1 week from now. She can't do that." "She did, and I found out why. She and Rowan met at a restaurant yesterday. I have photos." Finley spread pictures across Jeffrey's desk. Naya and Rowan sitting close together. Rowan sliding papers across the table. Naya smiling. "They're working together," Tasha said. "Rowan wants you distracted," Finley explained. "If you lose custody, you can't focus on the merger. He swoops in, takes control of the company. And Naya gets the boys," Jeffrey said quietly. "She's not trying to save them," Tasha said. "She's trying to punish you." Jeffrey was quiet for a long moment. Then he looked at Tasha. "Did Ayanna know about my affair?" The question hung in the air. "What affair?" Tasha asked. 5 years ago, before the boys were born, I had an affair with a colleague. It lasted 6 months. Ayanna found out. We went to counseling. We worked through it. But Naya knew? Naya knew. She never forgave me. She blamed me for Ayanna's stress, said it contributed to her health problems. Did it? Jeffrey's face crumpled. I don't know. The doctors said the aneurysm was congenital, but stress can trigger things. Maybe if I hadn't cheated, if Ayana hadn't been so worried about her marriage, maybe her blood pressure wouldn't have been so high. Maybe the aneurysm wouldn't have ruptured. Or maybe it would have happened anyway. Maybe. But I'll never know. Tasha felt a wave of exhaustion. Everything was so complicated, so painful. There were no clean answers, just layers of guilt and grief and things that couldn't be undone. "What do we do?" Jeffrey asked. "We protect the boys first," Tasha said. "Everything else is secondary. Tomorrow, we do the reenactment. We help them feel powerful again. Then we deal with Naya and Rowan. And if we can't win, we will." "How do you know?" "Because we have to." Finley gathered his photos and left. Jeffrey and Tasha sat in the study for a while longer, not speaking. The weight of what they'd seen pressed down on both of them. "Thank you for being here," Jeffrey said finally. "Don't thank me yet. This isn't over." "I know. But still, thank you." Tasha went to her room after midnight. She was exhausted but couldn't sleep. She kept seeing the boys' faces on that video, the way they tried so hard to save their mother, the way they waited for someone to rescue them. 3 hours. They'd sat in that closet for 3 hours. No wonder they kept going back. No wonder they locked themselves in. They were still waiting, still hoping someone would open the door and tell them everything was okay. Tomorrow, Tasha would give them that moment. Not in the closet, but somewhere safe. Somewhere they could be heroes. She just hoped it would be enough. Upstairs, Bo was awake. He'd had another nightmare, but this time he didn't call for Tasha. He climbed into Maverick's bed and held his brother close. "We're going to be okay," he whispered. "Miss Tasha is here. She won't let anything bad happen." Maverick didn't answer, but he held his brother's hand tight. Outside, the night was dark and quiet, but inside the Riley mansion, people were planning. Tasha was planning how to heal the boys. Rowan was planning how to take the company. Naya was planning how to take custody. And somewhere in the middle, 2 5-year-old boys were just trying to survive. The storm was coming. They all felt it. 5 days before the custody hearing, the Riley estate became a fortress. Lawyers arrived in black cars. Psychologists carried briefcases full of reports. Character witnesses cycled through the house like soldiers preparing for war. Outside the gates, reporters waited with cameras. They shouted questions whenever a car entered or left. The noise was constant, aggressive. Tasha stood at the window watching them. Her phone buzzed constantly with notifications. She'd made the mistake of looking at social media once. Only once. The headline was everywhere. Billionaire neglects traumatized twins, hires unqualified maid. Naya Price had launched a media campaign. She was good at it. She knew how to tell a story that made people angry. Former nanny speaks out about Riley household chaos. Grieving father too busy for sons leaves them with stranger. Who is Tasha Journey? Lost her own child, is she stable enough to care for others? That last one hurt the most. The comments were worse. Half the internet supported her. She's trying to help those poor babies. The other half destroyed her. She's just the help. She's overstepping. She's using those boys to replace her dead daughter. Jeffrey's company stock had dropped 15% in 3 days. The scandal was spreading like fire. "Turn it off," Jeffrey said from the doorway. "Don't read that garbage. They're investigating my past. They found out about Zara. Let them investigate. We have nothing to hide." "Don't we?" He came into the room. Looked tired. Older than he had 3 weeks ago. "Dr. Leilani issued a statement this morning," he said. "She said your experience losing Zara makes you uniquely qualified to understand trauma. That your empathy is exactly what the boys need. Will the judge care?" "I don't know." Tasha turned away from the window. "Where are Bo and Maverick?" "With Mrs. Chen. We're doing the reenactment in an hour. Are you ready?" "As ready as I'll ever be." The therapeutic reenactment happened in the living room. Dr. Leilani was there to supervise. Jeffrey stood nearby. Bo and Maverick sat on the couch, watching Tasha nervously. "Okay, boys," Dr. Leilani said gently. "Remember, this is pretend, but it's going to feel real. Miss Tasha is going to need your help. Can you help her?" Both boys nodded. Tasha walked across the room. Then she made a small sound and sat down quickly on the floor. "Oh no," she said. I feel dizzy. I need help. For a moment, nothing happened. The boys just stared. Then Bo stood up. Maverick, we have to help her. Maverick followed his brother. They ran to Tasha. Are you okay? Bo asked. I'm dizzy. Can you call for help? Bo picked up the toy phone they'd placed nearby. He pressed the buttons carefully. 911? We need help. Miss Tasha is sick. Good, Tasha said. What else can you do? We can stay with you, Maverick said. His voice was small, but clear. So you're not alone. Tasha felt tears coming. She blinked them away. That's perfect. Can you get your daddy? Bo ran to Jeffrey. Daddy, come quick. Miss Tasha needs you. Jeffrey came over, knelt down. I'm here. What happened? She got dizzy, Bo explained. We called 911 and stayed with her so she wouldn't be scared. You did exactly right, Jeffrey said. You're both so brave. Dr. Leilani stopped the exercise. Okay, that was wonderful. Let's talk about what just happened. They all sat on the floor together. The boys were between Tasha and Jeffrey. You saved me, Tasha said. See? You can help people. You did help Mommy by staying with her. You were good brothers. You did everything right. Maverick looked at Dr. Leilani. We were good brothers? The best brothers, the doctor said. What happened to your mammy wasn't your fault. Her brain was sick. But you stayed with her. You tried to help. That was exactly what she needed. But she still died, Bo said quietly. Yes, but not because you did anything wrong. Sometimes people die even when we do everything right. That's the hard truth. Maverick leaned against Tasha. We were good brothers, he repeated, like he was testing the words, seeing if they felt true. You were. You are, Tasha said. It was the first full sentence Maverick had spoken in 8 months that wasn't about being hungry or scared. It was about being good, about being enough. Dr. Leilani caught Tasha's eye, nodded. Major progress. That afternoon, Jeffrey called an emergency board meeting. Finley had presented him with evidence that morning. Financial documents, photos of secret meetings, proof of Rowan's betrayal. Rowan had been shorting Riley Corp stock, betting on Jeffrey's downfall. The merger he'd pushed so hard would actually bankrupt the company. Rowan was positioned to buy the assets for pennies on the dollar. The board members filled the conference room. Rowan sat at the far end of the table, confident, smirking. This meeting is unnecessary, Rowan said. We should be focused on the merger, not internal drama. The merger is dead, Jeffrey said. He threw the documents on the table. You've been sabotaging this company, betting against us, planning to profit from our collapse. Rowan's smirk faded. I have proof, Jeffrey continued. Bank records, meeting notes, everything. Those are fabricated, Rowan said, but his voice was weak. Are they? Should we pull up your offshore accounts right now? Silence. You pushed me to focus on work while my sons suffered, Jeffrey said. His voice was cold. You told me family was a distraction. Also, I'd miss what you were doing, so I'd be too weak to lead. You were too weak, Rowan snapped. You were too distracted by your dead wife and your broken children. Someone had to take control. The room gasped. The cruelty in his words was shocking. Jeffrey pressed a button. The conversation was being recorded. Everything Rowan had just said was now on record. Motion to remove Rowan Davis from the board, Jeffrey said. All in favor? Every hand went up. Rowan stood up. His face was red. This isn't over. Yes, it is. Security will escort you out. Investigations are being launched. If you're lucky, you'll only lose your career. Rowan left in disgrace, but the damage was done. By evening, the media was reporting Riley Corp in chaos. The stock dropped another 10%. 2 days before the hearing, the court-ordered home visit happened. Miss Patricia Green arrived at 9 in the morning. She was a black woman in her 40s, with kind eyes and a clipboard. She looked like she'd seen everything and believed nothing until she saw it herself. Naya came with her. She wore an expensive suit and a smile that didn't reach her eyes. Miss Journey, Miss Green said, I'm here to assess the living conditions and the children's well-being. Of course. Come in. Bo and Maverick were in the playroom. When they saw Naya, they ran behind Tasha. Both boys grabbed her legs. "You see?" Naya said immediately. "They're attached to an employee, not family." "They're attached to someone who makes them feel safe," Tasha said calmly. Miss Green knelt down. "Hello, Bo. Hello, Maverick. I'm Miss Green. I just want to ask you some questions. Is that okay?" Bo nodded slowly. "Are you safe here?" "Yes." "Does your daddy take care of you?" "Tasha helps him." Bo said. "Do you want to live with Aunt Naya?" Maverick shook his head violently. His grip on Tasha's leg tightened. "Why not?" Miss Green asked gently. "Tasha makes the hurt smaller," Bo said. "Aunt Naya makes Daddy sad." Naya's face went hard. "I'm their blood! She's the maid!" "I'm the person who stays," Tasha said quietly. Miss Green wrote notes on her clipboard. "Mr. Riley, can you show me the boys' bedroom?" Jeffrey led her upstairs. Naya followed, still fuming. Tasha stayed with the boys. "Did we do good?" Maverick whispered. "You did perfect." That night, Jeffrey and Tasha sat in his study with the lawyers. Papers covered every surface. Witness lists, video evidence, medical reports. "We have a strong case," the lead lawyer said. "Dr. Leilani's report shows significant improvement. The boys are thriving under current care. But Naya has former nannies who'll testify about chaos in the household," another lawyer added. "They quit because the boys were violent," Jeffrey said. "That's not chaos. That's trauma. The judge will understand that, but we need to be prepared for anything." After the lawyers left, Jeffrey and Tasha sat in exhausted silence. "Why are you doing this?" Jeffrey asked finally. "You could walk away, avoid all this media attention, all this ugliness." "Because I told them I wouldn't leave. I keep my promises." Jeffrey looked at her, really looked at her, not as an employee, not as help, but as a partner, an equal, someone fighting beside him. "When this is over," he said slowly, "we need to talk about what we are." "What we are?" "You and me. What this is between us." The air felt heavy, charged. Tasha shook her head. "The boys come first. Right now, we're their defenders. That's all we can be. And after? After, we figure it out. But not yet." Jeffrey nodded. He understood. Neither of them could afford distraction, not when so much was at stake. Upstairs, Bo and Maverick slept in their beds. Not the closet. Their beds. Mrs. Chen had taken video throughout the day. The lawyers would show it in court. Evidence of progress, of healing. Dr. Leilani's official report said it clearly. Significant improvement in 3 weeks under current care structure. But Naya had evidence too. Former nannies who would claim the house was unsafe. Medical records showing the boys' violent behavior. Photos of the destroyed rooms. The custody hearing was in 3 days. Everyone was ready. The calm before the storm. Family court opened at 9 a.m. Judge Marian Torres sat behind the bench, a Latina woman in her 50s with steel-gray hair and eyes that missed nothing. She was known for being stern but fair, known for putting children first, always. The courtroom was closed to media, but packed with witnesses. Lawyers shuffled papers. Jeffrey sat at one table in a dark suit, looking pale. Naya sat at the other table, her face composed but her eyes hard. Tasha sat in the gallery behind Jeffrey. Mrs. Chen sat next to her. Finley was on her other side. In a private waiting room down the hall, Bo and Maverick sat with a child advocate. They were coloring. They didn't know what was happening in the courtroom. They just knew today was important. Judge Torres looked at both sides. "This is a custody modification hearing regarding Bo and Maverick Riley, age 5. We're here to determine what is in the best interest of these children. Mr. Webb, you may present Miss Price's case." Marcus Webb stood up. He was a tall man in an expensive suit with a voice like gravel. "Your Honor, this case is about neglect. Jeffrey Riley has failed his sons at every turn. I will prove that these children belong with their aunt, Naya Price, who can provide the stable, loving home they desperately need." He presented his evidence methodically. Exhibit A showed Jeffrey's past infidelity. "A pattern of neglect," Webb called it. "A man who puts his own desires above his family." Exhibit B was Tasha's termination paperwork from her first day. Mr. Riley struck this woman in front of his children. He is volatile and dangerous. Exhibit C focused on Tasha, her background, her lost daughter, her lack of credentials. An unqualified person with her own unresolved trauma. Exhibit D was the media reports. Riley Corp in chaos. Billionaire too distracted for sons. A household in constant upheaval. The first witness was Simone, former nanny number 18. She was young, nervous, but her testimony was damaging. The boys were violent, she said. They threw things, hit me, destroyed furniture. Mr. Riley did nothing. He was never home. When he was home, he ignored them. Did you feel safe? Webb asked. No. I quit after 2 weeks. Jeffrey's attorney, Diana Shah, cross-examined. Did you receive any training in trauma care? No. Did anyone explain the boys' background to you? Just that their mother died. So you were unprepared for traumatized children? I guess so. The next witness shocked everyone. Rowan Davis walked into the courtroom. Jeffrey's face went hard. Tasha leaned forward. Mr. Davis, Webb said. You worked closely with Jeffrey Riley. What can you tell us about his state of mind? Jeffrey neglected his business and his children, Rowan said smoothly. He was obsessed with work, then obsessed with control. He's unstable. Those boys need structure he can't provide. Diana Shah stood up for cross-examination. She was a small Indian woman with sharp eyes. Mr. Davis, were you recently removed from Riley Corp's board? That's not relevant. Answer the question. Yes. Why were you removed? Rowan shifted. A disagreement about company direction. Or was it because you were caught embezzling funds and shorting company stock? The courtroom murmured. That's under investigation, Rowan said. So you have a financial motive to see Mr. Riley fail? I'm here for the children. No, you're here to save yourself. No further questions. Rowan left the stand looking smaller than when he arrived. Then Naya testified. She was poised, emotional, devastating. My sister died in that house, she said, her voice breaking. Those boys watched her die. They've been traumatized. Jeffrey cares more about his company than his children. He hired a maid to replace their mother. It's sick. It's wrong. I love those boys. I can give them a real home. Judge Torres looked troubled. She wrote notes. After lunch, Diana Shah presented Jeffrey's case. Dr. Leilani's report was comprehensive. Charts showing the boys' progress. Behavioral improvements. Emotional breakthroughs. These children have made more progress in 3 weeks with Miss Journey than in 8 months prior. Doctor, Leilani testified. Removing them now would be catastrophic. They've finally found stability. But Miss Journey has no credentials, Judge Torres said. Credentials don't create connection, Your Honor. Presence does. Consistency does. Love does. Mrs. Chen testified next. I've worked for this family 12 years. Mr. Riley is learning to be the father his sons need. It's not perfect, but it's real. And Miss Tasha is extraordinary. Those boys were dying inside. She brought them back. Finley testified simply. Those boys smile now. They sleep in beds, not closets. They eat. They play. Miss Tasha did that. If you take them away from her, you'll break them again. But Judge Torres asked the question everyone was thinking. She has no credentials. She lost her own child. Is this healthy? Is this woman using these boys to replace her daughter? Diana Shah called Tasha to the stand. Tasha walked up slowly. Her hands were shaking. She sat down and faced Webb. Miss Journey, Webb said, you're not a therapist, correct? Correct. You're not a licensed childcare provider? No. You lost your daughter 3 years ago to leukemia, correct? Yes. And isn't this just you using these boys to replace her? To fill the void she left? Tasha's composure cracked. Her eyes filled with tears. No, nothing replaces her. But loving them doesn't diminish loving her. What qualifies you to care for traumatized children? You have no degree, no training. What makes you think you're equipped for this? Tasha took a breath, then another. When she spoke, her voice was quiet but strong. You ask what qualifies me? Degrees? Certificates? I don't have those. but I know what it's like to watch your world end before you're old enough to understand it. I know the sound a child makes when they've stopped hoping anyone will come. I know what it looks like when a 5-year-old decides living hurts too much. The courtroom was silent. Those boys were locked in a closet with their dying mother for 3 hours. They've been locked in that moment ever since. And everyone else, the nannies, the therapists, the family, kept trying to pull them out with logic and schedules and professional distance. She looked directly at Judge Torres. I sat down in the closet with them. I stayed in the dark until they were ready to come toward the light. That's what qualifies me. Not credentials, presence. I didn't try to fix them. I saw them. And I stayed. Her voice grew stronger. You can take them from their father. You can take them from me. But you can't take from them what we've built. The belief that someone will stay even when it's hard, even when it hurts, even when it's terrifying. Tears ran down her face now, but she didn't stop. That's love. And love isn't about blood or bank accounts or licenses. It's about showing up in the closet and saying, I see you. I'm not leaving. That's what I did. That's what I'll keep doing for as long as they need me. Silence. Complete silence. Judge Torres wiped her eyes. Thank you, Miss Journey. During the afternoon break, the child advocate approached Judge Torres. The boys are asking to speak. They're 5 years old. I know, but they're insistent. They made a drawing. They want to show you. Judge Torres looked at both attorneys. I'm going to meet with them in chambers. Just me and the advocate. No attorneys. 20 minutes later, she returned. Her eyes were red. In her hand was a piece of paper. The drawing showed 4 stick figures holding hands. 1 tall man, 1 woman with curly hair, 2 small boys. Above them, written in careful letters, our team. Nobody knew what the boys said to the judge, but the lawyers who saw her face after said she'd been crying. Webb gave his closing argument. Good intentions don't replace qualifications. These children need a stable home with family who loves them. Miss Price can provide that. Diana Shah stood up. The evidence shows healing, real, measurable healing. Removing these children now would undo everything. They've finally found their team. Don't break them apart. Judge Torres looked at everyone in the courtroom. At Jeffrey. At Naya. At Tasha. I'll have my decision in 48 hours. Court is adjourned. Everyone stood. Jeffrey looked at Tasha. She looked back. Neither spoke. There was nothing to say. They'd done everything they could. Now they had to wait. Outside, reporters swarmed. Naya gave a statement. Justice will be served. Jeffrey said nothing. He got in his car with Tasha and the boys and drove home. That night, Bo asked, Did we do good? You did perfect, Tasha said. Will the judge let us stay? I don't know, baby. I want to stay with you and Daddy. I know. Maverick crawled into her lap. We're a team. Yes, Tasha whispered. We're a team. 48 hours. 2 days. Then they'd know if the team would stay together or be torn apart. 1 month after the hearing, the Riley estate felt different. Lighter somehow. Like grief had loosened its grip just enough to let sunlight in. Bo and Maverick played in the garden with Finley. They were building a fort out of branches and old sheets. Not in a closet. Not in the dark. Out in the open air where everyone could see them. Higher, Bo shouted. Make the roof higher. Finley adjusted the pole. Like this? Perfect. Maverick ran around the fort 3 times, laughing. The sound was still new enough to make the adults stop and stare. For 8 months, that sound had been missing. Now it was back. Inside, Jeffrey worked at his desk, but the office door was open. He could hear the boys laughing. Every few minutes, he'd look up and watch them through the window. Tasha came in carrying 2 cups of coffee. She set one on his desk. Dr. Leilani called, she said. She has a final assignment for us. What kind of assignment? The closet. She says it's time to change it. Jeffrey looked at her. Change it how? From a trauma site to a memorial space. Something that honors Ayanna but doesn't trap them. When? This weekend, all 4 of us. A family project. Jeffrey nodded slowly. Okay. Let's do it. Saturday morning, they started. The closet that had been dark and suffocating was emptied completely. They took out everything except the photos Tasha had added weeks ago. What color should we paint it? Jeffrey asked the boys. Blue, Bo said immediately. Mommy's favorite color. They found pale blue paint at the hardware store. The soft color of sky, not ocean. Gentle, calm. All four of them painted together. Bo got more paint on himself than the walls. Maverick carefully painted straight lines near the floor. Jeffrey did the high parts. Tasha painted the door frame. When the paint dried, they added things slowly. Photos of Ayanna smiling, laughing, holding the boys when they were babies. Happy moments, not sad ones. They brought in comfortable cushions, soft pillows, a small lamp with a warm glow, books, Ayanna's favorites. What should we call it? Tasha asked. Mommy's reading nook, Maverick said quietly. Perfect. When everything was ready, they sat inside together. All four of them. The door was wide open. Light came in from the hallway. Jeffrey held Ayanna's journal. He'd saved it but never read it out loud. Now he opened it to a page near the end. Your mommy wrote this a month before she died, he said. His voice was shaky. She wrote, My boys are my whole world. When I watch them sleep, I feel like the luckiest woman alive. They make me laugh every day, even when I'm tired, even when my head hurts. Just seeing their faces makes everything better. Bo was crying silently. Maverick leaned against Tasha. Jeffrey turned the page. She wrote, I hope they know how much I love them. I hope when they're older, they remember the good days, the park, the stories, the way we danced in the kitchen. I hope they remember laughter, not sadness. Is Mommy proud of us? Bo asked. Jeffrey pulled his son close. Tears ran down his face. So proud. She loved you more than anything in this world. Even though we couldn't save her? Maverick whispered. Tasha took his hand. Sweetheart, you did save her. Her last moments, she wasn't alone. You were there. You held her hand. That was the greatest gift anyone could give. She died, knowing she was loved. That's everything. They sat in silence for a while. The pain was still there. It would always be there. But it felt different now. Less sharp. More like an ache that could be lived with. Should we say goodbye? Jeffrey asked. The boys nodded. Tasha lit a small candle. They'd bought it that morning. It smelled like vanilla, Ayanna's favorite scent. On 3, Jeffrey said. 1, 2, 3. Together they said, We love you, Mommy. Then they blew out the candle. They sat for another minute. Then Jeffrey stood up. He held out his hands. Bo took one. Maverick took the other. Tasha came behind them. They walked out together, hand in hand. The door stayed open. At the hallway, Bo looked back. We can come back whenever we want, right? Whenever you want, Jeffrey said. But you don't have to live here anymore. What do you mean? I mean, this is a place to remember Mommy. But it's not where you belong. You belong out here, in the light, in your beds, in the garden, in the world. Bo thought about this. Then he nodded. Okay. They went downstairs. Mrs. Chen had made lunch. They ate together at the kitchen table, sandwiches and fruit, normal food on a normal day. That night, Tasha checked on the boys at midnight. She did this every night still, unable to break the habit. They were both asleep in their beds, doors open, night lights on, breathing deeply, peacefully. No nightmares. For the first time in 8 months. No nightmares. Jeffrey was standing in the hallway. He'd come to check on them too. You did it, he whispered. You saved them. We did it, Tasha corrected. All of us. I couldn't have done this without you. I know. They stood there in the dim light, looking at the sleeping boys. 2 people who'd started as strangers, who'd become something else, something undefined but real. What are we? Jeffrey asked quietly. Their team, Tasha said. That's enough for now. Is it? She looked at him. It has to be. They need us stable, united, not complicated. And later, we'll figure it out. He nodded. He understood. The boys came first. They always would. The next morning, an envelope arrived. Legal papers. Official documents with stamps and signatures. Tasha's psychological parent status was formalized. She had legal say in medical decisions, educational decisions, therapeutic decisions. Her title was officially changed. No longer child advocate. now child development specialist, with a salary that made her gasp when she saw the number. "Jeffrey, this is too much," she said. "It's not enough," he replied. "But it's what I can do right now." There were other papers too. Naya's supervised visitation was approved, once monthly, with a therapist present. She arrived for her first visit on a Thursday afternoon. She looked different, smaller, humbler. Mrs. Chen brought her to the living room where the boys were playing. "Hi, Boo. Hi, Maverick," Naya said softly. Both boys looked at her. Didn't run, didn't hide, but didn't rush to her either. "Hi, Aunt Naya," Bo said. She sat down on the floor near them, not too close. "What are you building?" "A castle," Maverick said. "It looks wonderful." They played for an hour. Naya mostly watched. Occasionally she'd hand them a block or comment on their construction. She didn't try to hug them, didn't try to force affection. When the hour was up, she stood to leave. At the door, she turned to Tasha. "I was wrong," she said, her voice cracked. "I thought taking them away would honor Ayana, but she would have wanted them happy. You made them happy. Thank you for loving them." Tasha didn't know what to say, so she just nodded. After Naya left, Jeffrey told Tasha about Rowan. "Criminal charges were filed," he said. "Fraud. Corporate espionage. He's facing years in prison." "Good. I bought out his shares, donated them to a new foundation, the Ayana Riley Memorial Fund. It'll help families dealing with sudden loss." She would have liked that. "I hope so." That evening, they had dinner together. All four of them, plus Mrs. Chen and Finley. A real family dinner with laughter and conversation and food that actually got eaten. Bo told a joke he'd learned at therapy. It wasn't funny, but everyone laughed anyway. Maverick asked for seconds, then thirds. Jeffrey talked about his day without mentioning work once. Tasha felt something in her chest, something warm and painful and good all at once. This was it. This was what healing looked like. Not perfect, not finished, but real. After dinner, the boys asked to go to Mummy's reading nook. Jeffrey looked at Tasha. She nodded. They all went upstairs together, sat in the pale blue room with the photos and the cushions and the lamp. Bo picked up one of Ayana's favorite books. "Will you read to us, Daddy?" Jeffrey took the book. His hands were shaking, but his voice was steady. He read about brave children and magical adventures, about coming home after being lost, about family. Halfway through, Maverick climbed into his lap. Bo leaned against Tasha. They sat like that until the story ended, until the boys' eyes got heavy. Then they walked out together, down the hall, to the boys' bedroom, tucked them in, kissed their foreheads. "Good night," Jeffrey said. "Good night, Daddy." "Good night, Tasha," the boys said together. The door stayed open. The nightlight glowed softly. Jeffrey and Tasha stood in the hallway. "They're going to be okay," Tasha said. "Yeah," Jeffrey agreed. "They are." And for the first time in 8 months, he believed it. Want more stories like this? If Tasha, Jeffrey, Bo, and Maverick's journey moved you, there are more stories waiting. Stories about broken people finding their way back to wholeness, about unconventional families, about love that shows up when it's hardest. Subscribe to get new stories delivered straight to you. Because sometimes we all need reminding that healing is possible, that staying matters, and that the people who see us in our darkest moments are the ones worth holding on to.